Hey everyone, Amazing Libertarian back to refute that Riley guy, part 2.
World being created. The Big Bang, chances of that happening are like zip.
No. Research this. Please research this before you talk about it. Because I go to the same school as you. We've never been taught the Big Bang. We've never been taught evolution. My entire life, I've never been taught either of those topics. The only time I've been taught the Big Bang is when a few teachers came in and talked about evolution of the Big Bang. And they basically summarized it as the Big Bang was an explosion that made a little bit of mass become a lot of mass, and therefore it's wrong. And they talked about evolution and said there's absolutely no evidence for it, and we've never seen it in any sort of nature, and there's no evidence for it, and they never even told us what either of them were. So I've had to research these on my own. So I encourage you to research them on your own before you talk about them as if you know them. And I've talked about them without knowing them, but at least I've admitted I don't know what I'm talking about before making that video.
And evolution. Now, evolution exists, of course. Everything evolves. Things adapt. Species adapt.
I'm surprised he even admitted that, but +1 for Riley. Yay!
Evolve. But not from species to species. Humans didn't come from monkeys.
Okay, please just... Okay, look at the evidence, please. He even thinks that it went monkey, human. Even I know that, and I've never researched evolution. Even I know that there are stages between monkeys and humans. It's not monkey equal monkey to human. But truthfully, I don't understand why you're even talking about any of this, that Riley guy. None of this has any... It doesn't matter. No matter how the Earth was created, whether religion is true or not, it really doesn't matter. So why are you talking about it? Whether the Bible is true or not has no relevance to the issue. You're throwing out red herrings to distract us from the main issue, so get back to the topic.
My thinking on evolution. Like, I mean, if you lived in a 4-foot cave and your entire generation for 500 years lived in a 4-foot cave, then, you know, your eyes would go bigger so they could absorb more light, and you would get shorter to adjust to the cave. Things evolve. It's just a fact.
Right, things evolve. So why couldn't a monkey evolve into a different species and then into a different species? It's different forms. It's not like a monkey made some drastic change to a human. It was slow and steady. So you're just proving the point. Yeah, if you live in a 4-foot cave for 500 years, your eyes are going to be able to absorb more light. You're going to get shorter. And so as time goes on, you become less and less of the species you used to be, and more of a different species. But it's not suddenly that you poofed into a different species.
Of living things. But things don't ever evolve from species to species. Ever.
There's so much evidence for it. Please research the issue before you talk about it.
Little. That just couldn't happen. And
see, the reason I never made a video about evolution is because I don't know about it. The reason I've only made one or two videos about the Big Bang is because I don't know about it, and I've admitted I don't know about it. My videos weren't trying to prove a point when I made the Big Bang videos. I was trying to become more educated. That's what I was doing. I wasn't trying to make a point. I wasn't trying to disprove anything. I was trying to ask questions. So if you don't know about something, don't act like you do. Ask questions and learn about it.
And so one person has been messaging me, not someone else, and they only believe in evolution, but not the Big Bang. So they think that the world just came into existence because, well, the first thing they said was that a whole bunch of water and minerals are just floating around in space and gravity pulled them together. Well, where did the gravity come from?
Well, I mean, can't the same argument be applied to God? Yes, I believe in God. But looking at this from an atheist point of view, your belief makes no more sense than an atheist point of view. I mean, what created God? What created gravity? It's the same issue. It's the same. You run into the same problems with both theories.
There was nothing in space. If there's just minerals and water, nothing has enough density and mass to be able to have gravity pull everything in together. Just couldn't happen. And
it's funny how throughout his entire video, you'll see he says it just couldn't happen. It just couldn't happen. It just couldn't happen. So many times when he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there.
I understand. That happens to me.
Second thing is that, let's Okay, so the second thing that she wrote me was that a star just went into a supernova and blew a shockwave of matter across. And this matter swirled together and crashed things together, and it became Earth slowly after multiple crashes and started orbiting around a gaseous thing, the sun, and things just started to orbit around. And then it developed an atmosphere, and then life started developing on it. But I think that the main thing is,
That's pretty oversimplified. But yeah, things started to form the Earth, things started to form other substances, things began to adapt, new substances began to orbit around the Earth, eventually creating an atmosphere. Now, I'm not sure if any of this is actually true, what I'm saying, but it makes sense to me that, this would happen. That things would adapt and adjust to a different environment, and that things would eventually come together in a certain way.
where did the star come from? Was it just
Where did God come from? I mean, it's the same. You run into the same problem, so don't assume you're any more intelligent than they are, because it's the same problems you run into with both theories. Even I'm a theist and I still believe that. I'm a Christian and I still believe that. I still admit that you run into the same problems either way.
floating up there too? There's no reason for the star to be there. What made the star?
What made God?
Well, dust and gases. So how did they get up there?
What made God?
Let's say, I don't know, something. See, it just keeps going back, infinitely, and it needs somewhere to. The universe needs somewhere to start.
What made God? Once again, you're not addressing the issue.
It can't just be there forever. It needs somewhere to start.
I don't understand where Riley's even going with this video right now. It started with homosexuality, and then it's completely gone into a debate about the Big Bang and evolution, which have nothing to do with homosexuality. He's arguing that if you can prove the Bible, then the Bible, if it's perfect and you can prove it, then it should dictate our society, which is completely untrue. Even if it is perfect, it does not. You don't have the right to take away people's rights just because your religion is perfect and says to do so.
So, for Christians and theists, the start is God, and then God made the universe. And then a lot of people compare just the floating chemicals in the space to God. They're just always there. But floating chemicals in space are different from God. God says, well, if you believe him, he says that he was there before time. So then he was there before the universe.
Why couldn't the chemicals be there before time and before the universe? I mean, you're not addressing the point here.
So that makes sense. It doesn't really make sense. It's kind of hard to grasp, but
If it doesn't make sense, then why are you even supporting it?
that's the explanation. And for chemicals and gases and dust floating up in space, there's no evidence to how they got there.
You're right, there's no evidence how God got there. And I'll have to make one more video to refute the stupidness of that Riley guy, so stay tuned.